Hey, family. Hey. Let me see who I got in here. Let me see. Don't talk crazy. Yes, I change my look every so often. Surprised, I changed it again. Don't y'all come for me. This mic, this shadow from this mic is just bothering me. So what's the deal, family? Don't come for me. My head's not wrapped. Well, technically it is. It's wrapped under these braids. So don't come for me. I had to change. Y'all, what y'all gonna learn about me is I change fast. So what's the deal, family? What's going on? Let's see what we got in the house. Thank y'all. I had to get my braids done yesterday, y'all. It was an ordeal. It was so painful, saints. I was like, oh. And it's not too tight. It's just, I'm extremely tender-headed. I'm one of those that my mom would comb my hair and I would be crying halfway through it. But my mom was heavy-handed, so. But thank you, y'all. It's time for a fresh new look. I was about to go blonde on y'all. I was about to go back to that old color, but I said, no, I don't need to shock people too much. It took 8 grueling hours, saints. It took too long. Way too long. I was like, I ain't got patience for this. Thank you, y'all. Thank you. Yes, I had to change my look. The curly hair, I love it, but I started getting tired of it. So I decided to change. My daughter is just like, why don't you just grow real locks? I was like, I might. I'm thinking on it. My daughter's actually growing locks. So yeah. So, but thank you. But look who I have, y'all. What's up, bro? Why is he looking like that? What's up?
Hey, how's it going, sis? Can you hear me?
We can hear you a little bit.
Let me see here. Let me set this up here.
You sound like me right now because I had a glare, and the whole time I was like trying to fix it. I kept trying to turn it. I just kept doing everything because it seems like the glare from my light, was causing a problem. So what's going on? Maybe it's me. Hold on. I got my volume fairly decent on here. So what is this behind my shield? Oh, okay. Can we hear you? I can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. You may have to come in and go. Okay, yeah. He gonna have to come in and go back out. But why he's sitting here, why he coming in and coming out? But yeah, I was looking at somebody said, "Where are your braids, Pastor Kelly?" That is hilarious. That's hilarious. Naya was like, I'm thinking about I was thinking about getting locks. My daughter's actually going through the whole lock process. I mean, like she's at the beginning phases of it. Naturally her hair is down her back. She's always been like that. So she is going through the lock process. I'm a little sad because I love her hair, but she wants to go natural. So I can't deny her that. But I cried. My mama cried too. So here we go. Hey, we still can't hear you. Still can't hear you. Check your mic. Check your mic on go to your cam mic little icon and check and see if your mic is connected on StreamYard. We still can't hear you. That's funny. Somebody said those 5 hot wings affecting your sound. Because we can hear you at first. We can wait for him to get started. Thank you, woman of God. Still can't hear you. Can y'all hear me? Hit 1. Yeah, he froze. Oh, wow. Let me... Yeah, he gonna have to come. Thank you, y'all. Hopefully we can get him to come in here. Because some of this conversation is him. Some of the conversation is dealing with him. So majority of the conversation is dealing with him. So I need him to be here. Y'all are funny. Let's see. Oh, y'all, I promise y'all today has been a day. I promise you today has been a day. I don't know why I took these out and I can't see. You know how you wear your glasses all day and your eyes are tired? I'm still not used to wearing them. I'm waiting for him, y'all. But I guess I can talk about, have y'all seen his new trailer? That's the question. If you have, hold tight, because I'm going to show it. 1, if you've seen the trailer. 2, if you haven't. 1, if you have. Thank you, Ruhama. Oh, you make me feel so good. He popping in and I can hear him, but hold on. No, nothing. Check your cable. Hey, check and see if you unplug your mic and see if your sound works on your computer. Let's see. Still can't hear none. Move something so I can know your screen had froze. Okay, I see your eyes moving, but still can't hear you. Can't hear you. Why is it? Okay, hopefully we can hear him soon. Man, so some of y'all ain't seen the. Thank you, Demond. Some of y'all ain't seen the trailer. I'm country, y'all. I say trailer in this trailer. I'm country. I know it. Bear with me, please. No, he's not muted. He's unmuted. That's what's crazy. I'm sitting here now waiting on him. Hopefully he good in just a second. Let me see. Man, that trailer is triggering. That's all I have to say. I had to watch it and watch it again. The second time I watched it, I cried. That's all I have to say. But I need him to work because I want to play this trailer. Because I want everybody to see it. I want everybody to be aware of what's to come. This is going to be... Thank you, Coach. I am country. I am from the deep South. I'm from the deep, dirty South. So I'm gonna say trailer, but in most cases I'll say trailer. Still country though. But yeah, this is gonna be interesting. I'm wondering why I can't hear him. This is crazy. Oh man, I need him to come in here and so I can show this trailer. Not trailer, but trailer. I hope I'm still not saying it country like. Let me see. Let's see. Let's see. Let me see. Here we go. He popped in. Please work.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
You know what? I think it may have been my earphones. I'm not going to hook my main mic up right here, but I think it was my earphones because once I put on a new set of earphones to listen, now things are working. So maybe that's the problem.
Okay. So
Well, apologies.
you good. You good. Okay. So we talking about this video. I'm gonna show the trailer. Don't you say nothing yet. I'm just gonna show the trailer because some people haven't seen it.
Okay.
Hold on. We woke now. Thought I had it queued up. Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay, y'all who have not seen it, thank you. Let's see. Who has not seen it, just brace yourself. That's all I got to say. Whew. All right. Can y'all see it? All right. Let's see what I'm seeing on my end. Okay. I want them to see the full screen. So in my way, I have to rise sometimes. Oh, there's so much trouble. I have to cry sometimes. I lay awake at night. But that's alright. 'Cause I know Jesus, He will be saved after. Now, family, when I now y'all know normally, do I have an echo?
Oh no, you sound good.
I have normally been able to get through trailers and not have to do an interview because it was like, okay, I'm anticipating what I want to see. But the trailer itself was was so powerful to the point I said what's so funny is Pastor Kelly had messaged me this morning and said, or was it this afternoon? And said,
Yeah, I think actually it was this afternoon.
yeah, said, sis, I want you to see this trailer before I post it. So I was like, okay, cool. But today was just one of those days at work where I was just like, okay, I'm gonna get to it once I hold on, no wonder. Okay, is it sound better?
You sound good to me. Sound
Okay.
okay on mine.
So by the time I got a chance to see it, I had talked to Pastor Kelly like twice. And he said, sis, have you seen it yet? I said, okay. So me, got done with work and y'all make sure I ain't got an echo. Do y'all hear echo? Or is it just me?
It may just be you because I don't hear an echo on mine.
Okay. So I said, okay, I'm gonna get to the trailer. And I was actually in my car about to go into IKEA today. So I'm at IKEA and I'm looking for a few things. And then I said, well, I went to like two stores. So the second store I went to, it was a long line. And I said, let me look at the trailer. Because Pastor Kelly know I drag my feet. When I say I was sitting in the store, I was standing in the store trying to hold back tears. I was like, I instantly called him and said, you should have got me prepared for this. I said, I was, and he kept saying, sis, I really need you to see this. I really need you to see this. And when it first came on and you hear the singing in the back, I said, oh, where is he getting ready to go with this? I already knew it was getting ready to make a turn. And when that thunder and lightning, and then as you saw each picture, I said, yeah, this is the trailer alone speaks volumes. Um, y'all, I cried. I watched it like 2, 3 times, and every single time I watched it, I mean, I think it's right now. It's about the sixth time I didn't watch this trailer because it's just like it. Now the name of the upcoming live show is what, Pastor Kelly?
Uh, Road to Savannah, but I'm going to stick with the narrative of Savannah, the voices, the lost voices. So it's really going to deal with our ancestors, the voices of our lost ancestors. So really, initially I was going to have it the Road to Savannah, but really Savannah, the lost voices, to really allow our people to really hear the voices of our ancestors. You know, um, that trailer is like, the trailer is so powerful that, as I told you, remember, Sister, I told you, I already had the vocals already done, to to start layering it with the different graphics and so forth. But I was like, you know what? After the vision of how I envisioned the trailer to be, the intro to be, I'm going to redo the vocals and everything because there's a narrative that really needs to be heard. Uh, and I know just about everyone saw the video that Benaya and myself had done, the collaborative work that we done for what we did about Savannah, the First African Baptist Church. And I shared a little bit about the pews, and also I shared a little bit about the what you call it, the non-patch quilt. But I wanted to just kind of give everyone a window of how was I able to transliterate the
Yep.
pews,
Yep.
because I transliterated not just one pew, I've transliterated several pews, but I'm just not showing it publicly because of the agendas that are out there. And one last point, real quick, Cecilia, and I turn it back to you.
I know
Part
you.
of the issue that I have is you have people that have no connection to our ancestors to really know the history.
Right.
So, what many of the poor approach to the pews is trying to look at it from a secular academic perspective by saying, "Hey, this is how the letter should be written. This is how the
Mhm.
word should be laid out." But
Yep.
when you are in a position of bondage, you know, the language, all the rules change. Everything changed. The rules are off the table. So I just kind of want to, with this series, want to really show and lead up to the writings of the pews, but really let our ancestors speak. Let us hear for the generation that really don't really know much about what transpired, but kind of bring them up to speed with the narratives that we getting ready to transition into.
Yeah, and I don't want you to go into details because I know some of the details of how this is going. I don't even want you to tell when you're going to put it out. Or what it's going to be totally about. But what I do want to talk about and understand where I'm about to segue into is not necessarily where he's getting ready to go. So saints, don't be out here like, oh, this where he getting. No, this is just a conversation. The trauma of slavery and the what you captured in that particular trailer is the trauma, and you can hear the trauma even in the singing. People ask, where does that gift of singing, that soul come from when when the Black community sings? It's pain. It comes from a place that you have to have been through something as a people to be able to communicate in the way we sing. You can't get that from somebody who's had it easy. You can only get that from someone who has been through. Now they can mimic us, but the original sound comes from Israel. And you can hear in the voice of the guy who's singing that song the hurt, the pain. It says, trouble in my way, I had to cry sometimes. And I'm like, it says, lay awake at night. That's all right. I know Jesus will fix it after a while. That's the words of our ancestors that they just had to endure. And they had to get through that to be able to manage through. But you can hear the trauma and you saw the trauma. And that's just a glimpse of some of the traumatic experiences our ancestors had to endure. And understand, scientists have done studies, and I think it was a scientist that did this study, and I think someone mentioned this, with mice,
Oh
where
yeah, Emory University actually did a full teaching on that.
yep, trauma can pass down to from someone in the womb, and they don't necessarily have to experience, but that stress from that trauma can pass down to that child. Um, and they may not have even experienced it, and you see that now. It's the what is it, post traumatic stress syndrome that we deal with, and these are some of the various symptoms that I've seen. Like, one is just day-to-day living, working. You're always worried about, am I doing enough? Am I gonna keep my job? Or if you get stopped by the police, I got to figure out how to hold my hand so I won't get shot. Or your child leaving, just going to the store, the fear that goes into you, where you just like, I pray, you have to pray for them, their safe return. Just driving up the street, because you got to pray that. And y'all excuse, my dog is in the background eating. Oh, he wait till now to go eat.
It's a
But
shame what y'all doing to that dog.
she, I'm so
You set yourself up with that one, right? And the dog is eating like you haven't eaten in ages, right?
I cannot. This dog gets on my nerves. This is this is the family dog, but she is really eating right.
She licking the pan and everything. The pan hitting all up on the wall and everything.
Oh my goodness. I'm so over it. My house is always so
She's sliding a bowl and everything, trying to get every bit of it out of it, right?
Yes. Her bowl is like right next. Usually she sleep when I'm doing this. I'm gonna endure this. but I mean, all the trauma as a people we had to endure. You just gave us a snippet not even a full depiction, just a snippet of some of the stuff that we had to endure as a people. And that
Yeah.
right there, it was just like a snippet. And the part that stuck with me was to see the trauma and hear the pain in his voice when he's singing. So that right there was enough, right there, for me to just say, you just felt it. You felt it.
Yeah, yeah, and I tell you, you hit it on the nail, especially when we start dealing with Emory University, the experiment that you highlighted.
Mm-hmm.
When you really study the details of it, and what they proved is that traumatic experiences, right, can be handed down. The behaviors
Mm-hmm.
can be handed down through generations, even though you may not have experienced the initial trauma, but as you begin to, you know, go through their findings, you'll see that the behaviors, the effects of it can
Yep.
be handed down. You know, traumatic experiences can literally alter your DNA. It
Mm-hmm.
can alter your reproductive system. And we even see that in the scripture because when Adam and Eve were kicked out of the garden, right? When they sinned, their reproductive system, organs, and everything shifted. They went from living for eternity, basically, to now having an expiration date,
Yep.
and their children began to inherit certain behaviors, because you notice Adam and Eve, they didn't kill anyone, but
Yep.
how did Abel get it in his spirit to kill his own brother?
Correct.
Right? So we see the seed was planted between Adam and Eve, and it germinated in the next generation. And that's how generational curses are. What may seem to be okay today, but 10 years from now, when that seed germinates, because it has to be the right climate for that seed to germinate, then it becomes a problem down the road. So
Yep.
back to the point that you made, when you study that test, they literally subjected the initial generation of mice to loud noises and electrical shocks every time they smelt, uh, had a, just that glimpse, a scent of cherry blossom, a sweet sound. I mean, smell rather. But every time they smelt that sweet smell, loud noises and electrical shock, to their surprise, was the generation that came after them, they were not subjected to the same treatment, but they still had the same behaviors. They still exhibited the same responses to something that should be pleasant. And then what really solidified their findings is they took mice from another group that were not subjected to any of that and meshed them in with the mice, and they did not take on those behaviors. They
Yep.
still behaved normal. So, just to your point, that alone should really give us the answer of why we see so many different things among our community. Why do
Yep.
we see the abuse, the high abuse of our women, or see the abuse of the children, or see how even how we were subjected to discipline when it came from, by way of our parents. When you start bringing all those things together, it answers a lot of questions. And I tell you, just what you see in that 2-minute video is only a smidget of what I have access to, what some of the heinous things that our ancestors were subjected to. And when I hear these narratives or these comments of we were slaves too, get over it, this is why it rubs me the wrong. I mean, I ain't gonna say the wrong way. It rubs me the right way, because it makes me want to respond, because that means they have no clue of what our ancestors were subjected to. Matter of fact, we're still being subjected to some of these behaviors that that our ancestors were subjected to. So it's so many layers to it. But you just hit it on the nose when you pointed out the behaviors that are handed down. But it's not just in our community; it's handed down in other communities as well. It's even within the system. This whole governmental system that we all have to come up in, because the governmental system was created by who? People.
Correct.
So when I just taught on about the Passover this past weekend, and I shared the parallels between what happened in Egypt to what happened, what we experience today. One last point that I'll bring up with that. I'm not going to give too much information on that because that's something that we discussed that we'll bring forth. But one section that really stood out when you hear when Pharaoh, you remember the midwives did not come back with carrying. Well, they came back to Pharaoh, let him know that they were not able to carry out his instructions. He said because the women, the Israelite women, the Hebrew women, they're they're strong. They said there's nothing like the strength of the Hebrew Israelite women. So
Correct.
you cannot break them, you know. And so he said they are not like the Egyptian women. So, but the key was Pharaoh's follow up, right? Pharaoh didn't, if you notice, he didn't punish them or anything. What he did was his follow up was he empowered every Egyptian
Yep.
to be able to kill the sons, all the young boys. He empowered every single person, every Egyptian had the power to kill our sons, right? And we
Correct.
see that play out over time because guess what? When we study the history of the black codes, every person within the community of our oppressors had the permission to kill our ancestors. It wasn't just the men, of course; it was the men and women. But they had to and they could not be held liable for anything that they have done to us, to whether they take a life, any of the abuse, all the mistreatments, it was okay. It was legal. So you saw that back in Egypt, and you see that they said that, hey, you could take a child and cast it like garbage, throw it, do whatever you need to do to kill this, these sons. And so we see these behaviors, spiritual Egypt per se, playing out over the history over time. And
I'm listening. I was trying to find that video while I was listening to you of the trauma by way of slavery. Slavery has done such an ordeal on our people, that the sheer thought, let's think about what we're going through right now, family, and Pastor Kelly, which is family. But the war that has been put upon us is not from the other side, but it's from our own people. That's the repercussions or the backlash of slavery. That the problem is, how dare you say you are the people of the Bible? And when I first, the crazy thing is, when I first came into the understanding of who we were, I thought I was gonna get my people just to say, yes, we are a people. I got more pushback from my own people to say, how dare you? How dare you compare yourself? Or how dare you make it about race? How dare you do this? How dare you? But never once have they questioned the others who actually live in that nation right now. They
you
live
know,
like us. And we're afraid to question them. But it's that mentality of shut up and quit trying to upset the system. That's the mindset. And it's like you're trying to get people out of this thinking pattern, and it's just like, it shocks me. I'm shocked by it.
well, and to your point, that's where I'm at with it as well, and that's why you already knew from the beginning. Um, I was offended because people that don't even know me, people that never even took the time out to travel up and down the road to go, for example, to Savannah, Georgia, uh, to go see the pews, not just the pews, see the history. See, I didn't just go visit a pew. I went to go see part of my history. Again, my great uncle, great great uncle rather, James Wesley Carr. pastored the first African Baptist church. The pastor there. My family has a history with that church, period. That assembly, because they made a distinction between church, building they worship in, assembly, and refer to themselves as Israelites. But to have someone try to tell me that I'm not the people of the book. You know what I mean? I didn't have a DNA test to tell me I was the people of the book because it was already handed down through family generations. But see, when you have people trying to tell me that I have to prove to them what my ancestors already shared with me was on the pews, not just on the pews, but just the history. See, I show videos, and I'll share some of them with you, Sister Ian, on another show. Is that 4 miles from that church, right? That building is the slave graveyard.
Yeah.
The slave graveyard. And if you see how the graveyard is, you can literally smell your way to their burial. You could smell your way. It was unbelievable. One of the elders from our assembly went with me, my road dog, Elder Hall. He was with me. And he will tell you what was so sad is it was two brother men that worked in the cemetery. They had no clue that the slave burials was in that cemetery. They couldn't even tell me where it was, right? And I smelled it. I was trying to follow the scent. You know who took us to the burials? It was a Caucasian.
Wow.
Had more history of it. And then
Wow.
when you go there, you see many of the headstones broken. Like they was using it for target practice. They was using a hammer to damage them. So right across from the slave burial, you have on the other side, right? You
Mm-hmm.
have the slave owners buried there. And you
Right.
see it night and day on how their burials are. And then you see the lynching tree. You see our ancestors buried under the lynching tree. And I'm going to tell you, when you smell that type of smell, that's because they buried our ancestors on top of each other, right? They didn't bury them properly. So when you smell that type of smell and you see, it was like almost like like the apocalyptic type setting when you see all the flies and everything. I mean, literally flies all over the place in that area. But you literally the stench. You could smell your way. You could see some of the burials sunk in. They had a blue tarp over it, right? Over some of it. It was that bad. And when we start understanding the history, see, we've gotten so comfortable with thinking that, man, we're making progress. No, progression is not freedom. Progression is not liberty. So I take it personal because guess what? We're talking about our family history. We're the only group of people where where oral tradition doesn't matter, you know, to other countries, and it doesn't, and we allow them to do that.
Correct. Correct.
My family, even go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, you go. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Just one quick point. Even though my uncle was a pastor there, but guess what? All of our families connect to this facility. I mean, to this bookmark, this that was left behind for our people. All of us connected there because guess what? They had thousands of people that was part of this assembly, and Savannah was a major hub before slaves got sent to Charleston and to Virginia. Most of the slaves were coming through Savannah. And
Yeah.
many people don't even understand that we all are connected to that church, and that's why there's such an attack because that church debunks every talking point that was created about the Hebrew Israelites or the term that they use, Black Hebrew Israelites, because that assembly existed before Crowdy was even born, before Cherry was even born. They existed and they were thriving. And so that's why there's such an attack to try to tell us that it doesn't matter and try to attack the pews as if, to discourage a lot of our people, to really throw shade on us. So that way the people start getting discouraged and say, hey, the pews are really not important. The church is not really important. Yes, it is. Why? Because it's a piece of the puzzle. It's It's not the entire puzzle, but it is a piece of the puzzle that the Most High is revealing to his people in this day and time that we live in.
Finish up with what you sent me. Running here real quick. Keep
Okay.
talking.
And so this is why, for everyone that's watching, this is why I refuse to sit here and engage with people that have no clue about history and then trying to approach our background, our history, and try to tell me what our history is. We should say enough is enough. So this is why, for example, Benaiah, Moray Brown, and Teo Ministry, and some of the others, Sister E, Dante. That's why we say, you know what, we're not going to engage anyone that that are literally insulting our history, who don't care about it. All they care about talking points, trying to make talking points. So for me, this is personal. It's not just a talking point. This is personal to me. Why? Because I'm not. Let's just say if we say, hey, you know what? We're not going to talk about the pews no more. We'll leave the pews alone. But guess what? Ultimately, the goalposts will go from the pews to the church, to the assembly. It'll continue to start having us try to remove ourselves from discussions about history that is our history, our culture, our heritage. So this is why now you don't have to explain anything, your history, to anyone. If they want you to explain your history to them, tell them to explain their history to you. Tell them to show the proof that they are who they say they are. Tell them to give me a DNA test. All those different things. But truth be told, they don't have a conversation unless you have a conversation with them. So this is why, and when I say they, I'm not just referring to one specific group, because there's other groups that are out there that's trying to suppress the information that we are sharing. So this is why we're like, no more talk. We're just going to give history. We're going to put the information out there. And it's not for those who want to go against us. It's to encourage our brothers and sisters to show that there's something special about you. And that when we deal with the history of what they would say the Black church, what we see today is not even nowhere near the history of the original Black church per se of that time. Nowhere near. No, not even a comparison.
And you know what they do, and what I've noticed is, and family. The only reason I'm talking about this, because y'all know is because that particular trailer kind of did something to make me think about, the trauma of our ancestors, and we're literally trying to be the voice of our ancestors. To let the world know that they were greater than just slaves, greater than, and I'm gonna say this and don't take it out of context. They were greater than just some Africans they found, because people don't realize what just African means. Because originally the narrative was we were uncivilized savages that they went and found and civilized. See, as long as we take their narrative, they're fine with it. But the moment we step outside of that narrative and say we were greater than that, we go beyond just individuals, y'all. We go beyond what your narrative is. And what I commend everybody for what they're doing their due diligence. And what's interesting is the more they talk, the more we research. It doesn't stop the awakening. The awakening will continue, because this is the will of the Most High and not our will. But they are in a place where it's just like, let me tell you something. Y'all notice that we've stopped saying the things that we originally used to say. They try and shame us to stop us from talking about the Deuteronomy curse. I'm returning back to that. They try to shame us from talking about what was said in Genesis in the 400 years. I'm gonna continue talking about that. They try to shame us by even saying the little things that we said at the beginning, because that's the tactic. If I can shame them, they'll stop talking about it. Family, let's return back to talking about the curses of Deuteronomy, because they still stand. Let's start back talking about the 400-year prophecy, because that still stands. These things still have weight. They
That's
have not stopped. We haven't stopped talking about it. And see, that's the goal. Let's prove to them that the Deuteronomy curse doesn't count for them. No, let's prove that someone else had experienced what we experienced. So understand that we not done talked about these things, but we're getting ready to take it to the next level, and the next level, and the next level. And what happens is, y'all, as we take it to the next level, they chase it. This is the race. We still ahead. Every time we say something, they're gonna keep coming, but they can't quite tip over us, because every single time they get close, we take it to another level. It'll never be the case that they come with their own information. They don't have information. The information they have is what y'all have done. And the crazy thing is, instead of trying to debunk, none of them are researching. Abu can say that it is jibber jabber on the pews. They're gonna be like, yeah, it is. And nobody's doing their due diligence. But what's going on is people are starting to even question them. That's why they're doing these mad videos right now, because their own people are now looking at them. We caught a couple of snippets, and Faithful tried to take it down, and we already saw some of it. Some of their own people questioning them and saying, wait, y'all keep chasing after them, and they keep finding information. But Naya keeps finding stuff. Pastor Kelly keeps searching and finding things. Teo and Dante, they keep finding information. For every time we find something, they try to debunk it. We find something else. We never stop. And we never gonna stop. At the end of the day, this is the will of the Most High. So, and that's what kills me, that this post-traumatic stress syndrome by way of slavery has made them so dull to what they're doing, that Abu has the mind of the oppressor. People don't see it at all.
And you know what's amazing? See, I pick up on little things. I didn't mention it in any videos. You know it, but most people don't catch it. But even in Abu's examples, like when he called himself mocking me about recognizing, I mean, my methodology, which he's never seen my methodology, never even had a conversation with me. But he began to show images, and you can look at it if you decide. And no, matter of fact, guys, don't even look at his stuff. If you choose to, go ahead. But in some of his videos, he showed a picture of my uncle, Pastor James Wesley Carr, and then he's trying to say I have a methodology. Like, see here, look here, the number 9 can be this, and get as the number this can be this. Like, wait a minute, I can't tell letters from numbers, Hebrew writings from English letters, and all those different things. He hasn't he never seen my methodology, but yet no matter how they may try to package it, guess what? They had someone in their live show or video who was an atheist, supposedly trying to debunk us, when actually he confirmed everything that
Correct.
I've been saying for years
Correct.
before that video. I said that there's get ez on the pews, but now what's happening? They're even trying to debunk the scholar that confirmed that there's get ez on there.
Mm-hmm.
But here's Sister E. I didn't share this with the people. I got plenty of responses from other professors, but I got a couple other professors that confirm that there's get ez on the pews.
Correct.
Not based off of the one main pew, but I have several. I'll say I have at least 80 different shots of the pews, different angles and all.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
some of the professors, we sent them a total of 15 different shots that are high definition shots. And so what I'm saying is, and not trying to pull the conversation over to those guys,
No,
but
you
to
good.
let the people know that, you know, I did my due diligence. I've just in the past 4 years, I've gone down to that place, to Savannah, at least 9 times. It would be more had it not been for the corona situation. I
Correct.
combed that facility. I combed the entire facility, and I'm not sharing all that public because look at what transpired. So the whole goal was to try to, like you said, Sister E, get us to start not talking about it. You
Yeah.
know what? Since we can't say anything about the information, let's
Let's shine.
start tainting and attacking the actual people. Let's attack the character of Sister E. Let's attack the character of Pastor Kelly, Pastor Majors, all this other stuff. And firsthand, even with what I did, we took Eunice off the table. We took Professor Katz off the table. Wasn't talking about them, but guess what? They still haven't done a line by line, letter by letter, what I've done, transliteration of that particular pew. They have not done that, and they don't show it and never showed it in any of their videos purposely. They would not show what I did letter by letter, and I can prove it all anyway. But just to even go back, this is why I'm fighting hard. This is why we're fighting hard, because we're not going to let anyone silence our ancestors. It's enough is enough with us allowing other people to tell us what our history is. And
Correct.
that's what they were doing when you start studying the Gullah Wars. Man, if you guys really study the history of the Gullah people, you'll understand the Gullah people are you. We're all connected. That's our people. That's us.
Mhm.
But the way that history tells it, we think that Gullah, the Gullah people is separate or just a separate group of people. No, that is us,
Correct.
right? All of us are connected to the Gullah people, Gullah, redemption, right?
Yep.
Reveal, right? That's where Gullah, the primitive root word, redemption, reveal, right? Revelation. So with that, that's what they want us to start giving away to who we are.
Correct.
That's why I said from the very beginning, I don't owe anyone an explanation on our heritage, on my family tradition. I owe no one anything.
Correct.
If I choose to share it, I choose to share it. But we don't owe anyone anything.
Correct.
Whatever information we have is strictly for those that really want to know, especially our people, to show the signs. And I believe even with those pews, not just with the pews, the Assembly of Savannah, guess what, is a sign that the Most High set aside for his people. And look at what's happening in the day and time we live in.
Correct. And what's interesting, and family, y'all know I'm not gonna stay here because they don't get any life out of me. It's hilarious. But I kind of want to talk about it because again, I looked at that video and it kind of just made me realize that the battle is bigger than what we think. The battle isn't just just us. This is a war in the the spiritual realm. Satan doesn't want the awakening to happen. So Satan is going to use his people, and I'm not using it from a racial standpoint because some of the people on that side look like us. I'm talking about the intent. Um, Satan's using his people to come at God's people. And I'm just going to call a spade a spade. I'm done playing with them because it's too much lies coming from that end of the world. Character assassination, insults, manipulation that comes from that side. To that if I wasn't a part of this community, I still wouldn't have anything to do with them because they have despicable, disgusting personalities. And their spirits are dark, every single one of them, from Faithful to God to Abu to Cherry Love to G Con to G Man. I'll call them all out. Don't have a problem with it because all of them are dangerous. They try to make us dangerous because nobody over here is making anybody come over here and listen to anything we saying. People are coming over here by choice. And then all of a sudden I've heard that, there's a slight little rumor that on a video that somebody sent me and I watched the end of it, that someone is making it seem as if Pastor Kelly is manipulating me to do these things. No, I'm my own person. Anyone that knows me knows that I have my own thoughts, my own thinking. I do as I'm told by the Most High. That's who's driving me. So what they do is try to play upon the sympathy of, Sister E seemed like she was reasonable, but when Pastor Kelly, no, I've been like this since day one, period.
And what people don't know, Sister, we all done had our backdoor fights.
Correct.
You and I, Teo, Don, we all. But guess what? One thing that we learned, and it's biblical, that just because we have our disagreements, guess what? We're still family.
Correct.
See, what Christianity has done to us, Catholicism has done to us, they have taught us that, guess what? If you don't say, if your relatives say that they don't believe in Jesus, then they're not your relatives. Even though we all believe in the Hebrew Israelite Messiah, but regardless, certain things is that we're not going to allow certain things to be a deal breaker to cause us to come at each other with this, with division. We understand the bigger picture. The
Correct.
bigger picture is the Most High. When it's all said and done, He's gonna settle everything. But when it's all said and done, we recognize who we are. We know that we're up against an uphill battle, and the last thing we need to do is fight among each other. And that's the whole goal, is to have us start fighting against each other. But when we start calling out some of the things that the church, with Catholicism, which all of it is still together, Christianity and Catholicism, when we start really bringing out those behaviors of what Roman Catholicism has done, they don't want to address that. They
Correct.
don't want to address when we start going to that area, to where, as though history is a fact, shows us with facts that it was the Roman Catholic Church, along with Christianity, which together they called themselves Christendom, that declared war against our people. It's
Correct.
historically documented that they have declared war on our people, and they said all the rules of war applies. It's documented. So why are we referring to that as the transatlantic slave trade, which it should be the transatlantic world war? So when we start bringing up this stuff that happened to our ancestors during the war, right? They were raping the men. They were, as you can see, it's some of the images. That's why I know it probably caught a lot of people off guard to see a man being at the hung, which is part of the lynching process, hung, and his pants are down. Right, you'll see, if you really start going through some of the images of lynching, you'll see a lot of the men pants are down at their ankles, because many of them were most of them were being sodomized,
Yeah.
as part of the process.
Yeah.
So with that, that's why it's like, what, we don't need to engage anyone that's coming against what we know is facts and history. That's why it's like we pivoted. And even when we were quiet, they were making videos after videos saying, hey, where they are, they start recycling stuff that they had done.
They
But we said, go
gonna
ahead.
no, finish what you're saying.
But we had made it a point to say, you know what? We're not engaging that. We're not engaging none of that. So again, for those that are watching, it was never a discussion. A discussion is when, like we're doing right now, this is a discussion.
Correct.
Family, that all you guys that are watching, me and Sister E on here on the panel here, this is a discussion because we're having dialogue, not making videos and then, battle videos per se with that's not a discussion.
Correct.
This is a discussion. We've never had this type of discussion. And when I was told that I was going to have a discussion, they never brought me on the platform
Right.
to have this discussion, for me to share information that I didn't share publicly on the pews. And I was going to share it, some of the additional information, but that never happened.
And
So
yeah.
go ahead, sis.
But what's so sad is on their own channels, they couldn't get the momentum that they needed. So they manipulated. Now that's who's been manipulated. Man, I feel bad for him. Is Beran. Beran has allowed Abu to whisper in his ear and cause him to lash out on the very people that support him. And I'm gonna say that again, and I said that months ago. He's allowed the snake call Abu, because that's what he is. I call a spade, and he is definitely a snake. He allowed Abu to whisper in his ear, and now he's burned that bridge. And what they did was they needed Beran's platform. And what's interesting, they claimed that we needed his platform. If you last check, everybody else's platforms were doing good before we started doing this thing right here. Like what we were doing here recently on Beran's platform. None of us was hurting. In fact, I had invited Beran to come on my platform. So none of us was hurting when it came to numbers, but they were hurting, because if you look at their videos, they get maybe 200, 300 views. So what it was is they standing there watching, wait, Beran is getting 400 views. We need to get on Beran. So we need to figure out how to turn Beran against the Israelite community. And guess what happened? Beran lashed out at us, did a live a couple of weeks later. Guess what? His views dropped. Totally. Because what they didn't realize is our people came with us. They came with us. Those extra three to 400 people that was looking at Berean came straight from our community. So they had a plan to use Berean's platform to get a bigger audience, but didn't realize that Berean's bigger audience was us. So now
Yeah.
the position that Berean now is maybe he ain't hitting like he used to hit. Period. So guess what? They got to go back to their own channels that, and they still gonna use Berean like they want to do, because Berean helped them get a little bump. But guess what? Yet and still, he's hurting right now. But with that being said, they've done all this to try to get a platform, try to get ears, try to get views, and it ended up hurting them in the long run. It ended up causing them to realize that wait, their audience that we wanted is them. Period. Because Berean, I saw him recently, he ain't hitting no more than about 100 views, maybe 200 views in a live. Whereas back when Dante was on, Teo was on, I was on, he was hitting 500 views while he was doing a live. So guess what? You dog out the very people that helped you, that blessed you, that ensured you was good, and you allowed the oppressor by the name of Abu, and I'm going to call him that again, to get in your ear, to turn you against the very people that had his back. Wrong, right, or indifferent, we had his back. Even with the ordeal that happened with Majors, he was on the phone with Majors and could have addressed it right there with Majors. But guess what he did? He allowed Abu to get in his ear, and then he did a live. And everybody was like, wait, didn't you talk to Majors?
Mm-hmm.
You could have said, yo, bro, what's going on? But you know what he did? He wanted to be king of finesse, and he finessed himself out of having a very strong YouTube following. And we're not building off of numbers. That's not our mentality. We ain't about numbers, but they are. Because
Yeah.
I was happy with what I had. The Most High blessed me. I walked away 2 years ago from Berean's channel, and I would hit like 30 people watching me, and I didn't make a big deal about it. I was just happy for the 30. I was happy. One time I remember I talked for a whole hour and I had 5 people listening to me, and I was happy with that. It was never about numbers, but to them it was about numbers. But what they didn't realize is Teo got, I think, 35 subscribers.
No, 35,000.
35, yeah, 35,000
Wow,
subscribers.
almost 40,000 subscribers.
Almost 40,000 subscribers. Dante has almost what, 20,000 subscribers. So I'm just looking at those 2 channels. Guess what's gonna happen? You gonna pull their people just by themselves. And then you got the newer channels that came in, yourself pulling almost 6,000 subs, me almost pulling 4,000 subs, Ashonda and Kira's pulling. And so the thing is, our people came over there to watch all of us dialogue. And guess
And
what
Sister,
happened?
don't downplay your accomplishments now, because
Oh no,
remember,
it's a
we
blessing.
didn't we didn't start taking YouTube serious. Remember, till about February of last year.
Yeah,
After that, I'm not going to mention the other person that I had to deal with, but uh, remember, it got to the point because Facebook been suppressing my stuff forever, and
correct.
I kept being told, hey, why don't you just go ahead and put your energy over to your YouTube channel?
Yep.
And from that point on, in a little more than a year now, we went from what, maybe 500-600 subscribers to me, I'm pushing almost 7,000, and you pushing almost 4,000. But it's because of we put time into it, and the content on our channels wasn't about trying to say, hey, the whole time how we Hebrew Israelites. No, we're giving foundational teaching, what people are
Correct.
asking for, and so even then, you know, uh, even in the midst of me being in YouTube penitentiary, because Tay and those guys, they were in jail. I'm in the pen, guys. I don't even know why I'm in the pen, but the channel's still growing,
Yep.
even in spite of it being suppressed.
And that's it. And that's key. And I'm not taking anything away from my channel. I praise y'all for the growth. And where I've been going, and I praise the Most High for my subs, because I do this for them. I don't do this just for me. I do this for them. But with that being said, they were pulling for Berean. They felt like they needed Berean's platform. They felt like, let's move the Israelites out and let's take their spot. And guess what happened? When we all, because he didn't move us, we made a concerted effort to say, we're done. What's funny is he said he blocked people. I had already unfriended Berean before he even blocked me, truth be told. But I didn't feel like I needed to block him because it wasn't that serious. But I had unfriended him and unsubscribed to him from Patreon to be a Patreon member right before he started blocking people, because I saw how toxic it was. Because I've been through the rodeo before with Berean. After the first time you burn me, I'm gonna give you a chance, but the second time you burn me, oh, I'm done. He don't realize I was done before he even blocked me. I was done. You can't burn me twice. I'm not a fool, So, because again, I Berean had access to some of these folks because of me, and I'm gonna be real. He didn't have access to. Teo wouldn't have got up there just cause Dante, And I told Berean years ago about Dante, and he ignored me. Now all of a sudden, Dante was a hot item because he needed him. Berean has used people. All of them are users, plain and simple. And then they're going to get up here and say, teaching a different gospel. Why they cussing everybody out? Why they talk? And I don't know why we segue here, but I'm good with it. We can stay here. Why they cussing people out? Why they got records of somebody committing some weird homosexual acts? Two of them in a community. Some other people out here doing some other stuff that we trying to be nice and hold back on, because it's more understand that there are other receipts people are holding on to, and they just saying we're not gonna totally embarrass them. But I mean, and they're sitting there saying they teaching a new gospel. How are we teaching a gospel outside of what we're teaching that comes from the Word of God? But let them say it. We're stupid. And then they try to play on the fact of so-called our lack of intelligence, which is hilarious to me. When every single one of us got some form of computer science degree or information technology degree, doing analytics and statistical analysis and computer programming and
Oh, no,
database
I'm a
management.
security guard.
Yeah, you're just a security
I'm
guard.
I'm a security guard.
Yeah, top flight security. Mm-hmm.
I'm a security guard.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But you know what, Sister, even what you pointed out, uh, the the distractions. We tried, but it became a distraction. And I like the fact that we decided to keep quiet and just focus on bigger and better things. And the results of that is, okay, we stopped talking about the pews to others, but saying, you know what, we're going to deal with the pews internally, among our people, and we're going to put information out, not as a response video, not any, we're going to put stuff out informational. We're going to give historical facts. We're going to give and let the people sort it out for themselves. So, it wasn't just, okay, we just arbitrarily came out with the first video about Savannah. Then we came out with, Pastor Brown, Moray Brown, had the interview, with the professor, about Arabic, and he completely shut down all the other stuff that's with it. So we just made it clear that we're not going to engage them or anyone anymore when it comes to that. We're just going to, we have the information. We don't need anyone to validate what we know it is true based off of historical facts and also what you pointed out, the biblical text. We don't need all of that. If anything, it was, it served a purpose to a point that the people got to see the truth, right? So when I say truth, is the truth about people, truth about this attack, the truth about the uh, the threat to that system, that belief system about us knowing who we are. You
Correct.
know, we're good as long as we don't know who we are. We can, uh, worship all kinds of other stuff, but when you say that you are blood descendants of Israel, now there's a problem. We got the receipts on. I don't even like to say receipts because that's taking us back to the slave masters with the tickets. But we got the proof that we know who we are. But when it gets to a point that you want us to show you this and show, no, you keep it. We worked
Correct.
hard to be where we are. My grandmother sacrificed so much, and I'm not going to let anyone tell me what my grandmother did not tell me. What's on those pews? Did not tell me about my history of being an Israelite. My uncle Bishop Jerry Carr. I'm not going to belittle his legacy. I'm not going to belittle my great grandfather Jerry Carr Sr. I'm not going to minimize my great great uncle James Wesley Carr and all, not just the Carr family, but all those other people that our family members, all of our families. That's because we're one family. I'm not going to let anyone pull me away from the key point is that's edifying our people. You know, they're entitled to think whatever they want to think, be whoever they want to be, but we're going to do what we're supposed to do, and that's shifting our narrative from them. You
Correct.
know, this project that we got have coming up, it's not about the naysayers. You know what I mean? It's about letting the voices of our ancestors be heard. Let the next generation hear those voices and not get caught up in the time that we're living in, where so everything is becoming universal, Catholic, generic, and all those things. So we're not doing that, and we're shifting the narrative to say, enough is enough. We don't need to engage with any of them. They didn't
Correct.
put any money in your pocket. They didn't put any money in my pocket. They're not taking anything out of my pocket. You know what I mean? We still have our assembly, everything. We're still doing what we're supposed to do.
Correct.
So we're not skipping a beat. So again, this upcoming project is for the people to be edified, knowing that this is not just my history or your history. This is our history, and we're going to make sure that we protect it, even though it may bring some tears, even though it's some really heinous things that we were subjected to, but it's still our history. We don't need somebody else to come tell us our
Right.
history. They don't let us come and tell them their history. They don't let us come and tell them that, hey, no, you're not an Italian, or you're not, let's just say Spanish, or you're not Arab, from where Assyria and all those other. We don't come and tell them who they are. You know
Right.
what I mean? So we're not going to sit here and think that we need them to tell us who we are.
Right. And correct. And when you look at it, they're actually the ones that's teaching the new gospel. You know,
Absolutely.
they're teaching a new gospel because we ain't teaching nothing outside of the word of God. In fact, we stay more in the word than they do. They always talk about the other books and outside of the word of God. And the sad part is this. Very sad part is they went and got the uneducated ones and they're using them to be the attack dogs. That's why I refuse to engage with any of them. I'm not engaging with someone with an educational level of a sixth grader. Not finna do that. The vocabulary of a second grader. Not finna do that. I work too hard. I work too hard to maintain a level of integrity and try to be as graceful as I can be within my own capacity before I get to a point where I'm just like, now understand this, because I'm quiet don't mean I'm scared. Quiet means I'm trying to find the best way to deal with it in the most diplomatic manner way that I can. That will not cause me to step outside of my character. So that's what I am going to do. Now, if I do step out of that, there was once a side of me that I need to remain quiet. Because if that ever come out, that's you gonna have to come get me in. But yeah, I refuse. I refuse, and that goes for every single one of them. You got a boo arguing about a Harvard graduate, the one that the graduate from Ethiopia, the one that saw Gaiez on the pew. How many semesters of college did a boo get? A couple, and they played it as if a boo was a scholar when he first came out. And it finally came out that he's not an expert. He even calls himself just an amateur. That's what he's called himself. All of them are just. I mean, they're more dangerous than people think they are. They're truly the wolves in sheep's clothing. The insults, the attacks, um, on people's integrity and talking about people and insulting people, and you just like, wow. I can't see the comment. But you're just it does, but I've got now that it doesn't shock me. I'm trying to see what this comment is because I can't see it. Um, I'm just past it. And I'm past them. Like I said, nobody has checked anybody for their poor behavior, but they want everybody to check everybody on our side. No, we haven't done anything. Period. But we got plenty of proof what y'all have done, and yet have y'all come back and apologize. Um, so that's where I stand with it, But that goes back into that post traumatic stress syndrome that we have. That the mindset of we can't rock the boat because we can't be the people. We have such low self esteem about ourselves that if we say we're the people, we're wrong. Like, no, you're not supposed to say that. We the same. How dare you go against Master? Master told us we wasn't the people, so we ain't the people. And that's what I hear. I keep saying that, but when I hear some of them talk, that's what I hear. Uh, we eats good over here. Master say we just like them, and that's what I hear when I hear all of them talk. It's like, how? Yeah.
And you know what, Sister, can I share something? Share my screen with you. I just want to
Mhm.
let the people see one of the videos I have about the slave graveyard
Okay.
and see why uh, I fight the way that I fight. We fight the way that we fight because we refuse to let anyone tell us that uh, we are we're going to be quiet. We're not going to share this information with the people. We're going to pull back, like you pointed out earlier, that we start pulling back out on who we are, start pulling back on our heritage. And I want to just share this with the people here. Let me see here.
It's
I'm not
like
sure
they
if you're here to see.
hold on, I'm trying to plug my computer up because it's about to die. Because I got every single device plugged to it. Okay, I'm ready whenever you're ready to share.
Okay, you know what? Let me do this a different way because I thought I could share my video. I'll just share my screen.
Master said y'all ain't the people, so I dare y'all say y'all's the people. I can't even talk like that. But and I'm not insulting our people because the thing is our people spoke a language that they had to speak, not taken away from that. And I want to make sure I clear that up. But there's a level of like stress syndrome that you just say you're stuck there. Come on out of it. Come out of it. Snap out of it. It's like we're constantly saying, snap out of it. We're who that we are. We are a chosen people. We are his people, a royal priesthood. We are what he says that we are. Period. But because we're saying that he loves us and we are the apple of his eye, that's a problem.
Absolutely.
How is
Absolutely.
how is black people the apple of his eye? And they say it's not about race. Well, go over and ask the other ones to not talk about race because they don't. If I was didn't look like this, and then I was of another complexion, and I said I was Jewish, which I don't have a problem with. Guess what? Christians for Jews, they would love it.
Well, you know what? I have videos that I've downloaded from those guys, engaging uh, Caucasian Jews or white
Correct.
Jews per se, and not subjecting them to any of the things that we deal with.
Yep.
So I have all that information, and again, when it, with all the stuff that has transpired, it made they made it clear that it's time to take it to another, put it in the hands for somebody else to take the legal action in terms of seeking a legal team to take care of what's been going out there.
Correct.
But I have videos of them with dealing with the Jewish community as we know them,
Correct.
and not subjecting them to any of the stuff that we are subjected to,
Correct.
and we have proven that we are connected to Israel, um, with the DNA uh, showing the tribe. We've had Professor Tudor Parfit confirming. We had other information that confirms, but yet we still under the ridicule. So for me, it's like when where it is right now, it's now turn it over to the hands of the legal people, and I'm going to let them handle some things. And I'm not going to put too much information out there, but I can say uh, they are going to handle it. I mean, because you try to send warnings, and since they want to mock and make videos mocking that, it's like, okay, well, you know what, you'll hear from the lawyer, and then
Correct.
the lawyer will literally take care of the rest of this stuff, and we'll know when we hear from them. So, but look, I want to just share this video real quick, if you don't mind, Sister E, and let me know if you can see it, just so that people can see it.
We can't hear anything.
Oh, I'm just going to play. You
Okay.
can't hear it. Well, you're not going. You probably hear. Let me see here. Yeah, there you go. Is it moving?
The go down. The speaker has an X on it.
Well, that's just me talking in the background. So let me
No, no,
see.
right there. Yeah. If you turn it up, we can't hear really. Oh, you don't want us to hear. Okay, my
Yeah,
bad.
you don't have to hear. That's just me now giving a narrative on it. But you see what you see here. These are some of the headstones, right? And I'm going to walk over to the other part where you see I'm on one angle of it, the back end of it. But you see, I'm right there, slave burial, 4 miles from the church. And let me pause it right here. You see those headstones? Let me go
Wow.
back. You see those headstones?
Correct. I can see him.
They hit them with sledgehammers, or what I was told. They used it for target practice. But look at how bad some of those headstones are. But I'm going to show you another part to it. And right here, and you see that green point, that I'm going to go over to that area. That's a tarp
You told me about.
covering. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let you see it here up close. And this tree right here, that's right here, getting ready to come up, that is a lynching tree that they had. Look back here. You see that headstone on the base of the tree?
Hmm.
Some of these are actually headstones that the tree grew through.
Wow.
You see how close the graves are and stacked upon each other. Now watch when I walk around that lynching tree. You see how how they messed up the graves here. This is really will really bring to you see all these, this right here, just in this little short area, can't be no more than about 4 by 4. You see at least 14 headstones here in this little section. And that green tarp, man, and you can't see the flies, of course, but you take this green tarp. I mean, Elder had to keep me from pulling it off, because I was that's how upset I was. But you can see more headstones under there. The ground is sunken in, and man, I can only imagine how worse the smell would have gotten if I would have taken that tarp up off the ground. But look at this. Oops. Let me go back some. Unbelievable, right?
Yep.
And this is what happens when they tell us that we shouldn't be talking about this stuff. This is the stuff that they try to tell us we should disregard. This is when we hear people saying we got over it. Why can't you? You know, this is what they're telling us. Don't worry about this stuff right here.
I hate when people say, okay, transatlantic slave trade happened. Okay, it was a bad thing. Okay, what? And when I hear people say that, I'm just like, are you serious?
Yeah, yeah.
Are
And you
you
see that small little area, right? This small little area is the slave burial. So you can imagine the number of bodies that's underneath there, stacked on top of each other.
Yep.
You know, so I just kind of want to show this a little, you know, just show a glimpse. Let me see if I got a picture of the tree, a better picture of the tree. Let's see here.
And what's so
So,
funny is the people that's saying slavery happened, get past it, are the people that look
all
like
right,
us.
did I show the tree? No,
When-
that tree. I got another angle on it, and I'll show it here. Let me see here. All right, let me see. I think I show an angle on it right here. Let me see. This is the tree, but not in this video, I guess. You know, but this is the tree. This is a lynching tree.
That's crazy. Oh wow. And you wait a minute, go back. You see the headstone embedded in the side of the tree.
Yeah, let's go back here, and it's multiple like that,
Oh wow.
right? Embedded in the side of the tree. Now I'm gonna pause it here so you can. Let me go back a little bit. You see a headstone right here,
Wow.
headstones right here, headstones right here, headstones right here. Roots are all up underneath here. Headstones under these bricks right here.
Wow.
And this tree right here, I didn't get a good angle on this particular camera, but this tree, I mean, when you take the camera to the top portion of this tree, man, it really, how can I put it? Put you in a place you can really feel the heaviness there. You can really feel, I mean, and you can smell the stench of
Wow.
everyone that's buried here. And this is raining, and there was tons of flies out here.
Wow.
Let's see. Let me see if I. So just to let the people know that, you know, we didn't just. I'm not just talking about it. I've spent a lot of my time going down here to make sure that I bring attention to this stuff here that you see. Now, yeah. There you see it now, sis.
Mm-hmm.
You see how eerie that tree looks.
Yep. Wow.
Make
Wow.
you think of that song "Strange Fruits," right? And look at these are the older, the more of the during the slavery time. These headstones right here,
Wow.
all over here. These are more towards this. But when you go further back, then that's when you start getting into like the late 1900s, getting ready to turn over to the 20th century. But all of these right here are slaves right here. All of them. All of these are slaves. But that is that lynching tree right there. And if you go, I don't have it in this video, but I actually go to the plantation owners uh, portion of it, and it's night and day. Look at that.
Wow. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
So that's why I want to share some of that, just to show our people that this is why we do what we do. This is why I've been on these roads a number of times, going up and down the highways. I don't live around the corner from Savannah. Savannah is a at least easily a 7 to 8 hour drive from where I live at.
Yeah, it is. I thought Savannah was close because I was like, here, I was like, well, I'm gonna drive to Savannah, and then I looked up. I said, wait, this is an 8 hour drive. It
Yeah,
it's easier. It's faster to get to New York right now.
yeah, yeah. It is.
But I said I was still gonna make that trip, and it was gonna be closer to the summer because I want to go and spend some time there. The blessed part is, with me working remote, I can pretty much go where I want to go and stay there for a week or so. But I said I was gonna do that and do that soon. Uh, excuse me, yeah, I'm not sleepy. That's why I'm weird. That's why this is weird. I don't know why I'm yawning because I'm not sleepy, but I'm just like, yeah, I gotta go see it for myself. But again, it's just, yeah.
And family, don't let what you hear discourage you from going there. Don't let the narrative of some that may say, "Hey, the pews don't matter," or "the church don't matter." Absolutely, it does. If it didn't matter, they would not be making the number of videos and the things that we see being made towards them. Just me alone. Now the number is like over 60 videos that they've made of me, included. At least 50 of them with me in their titles, six over almost 70 of them with me in their videos. So um, yeah, I'm in Virginia to Ramel Yahoo. Yeah, I'm in Virginia. Actually, if you go down towards the Richmond area, I'm on the outskirts. I'm near the Richmond airport, which is on the outskirts of Richmond. So I'm not in the city, but I'm right there, minutes away from the airport, literally. So if you're ever in the area, let me know, and whatever accommodations you need, it will take care of you. Just let me know if you ever want to come on down. We doing our Passover Pesach, not this upcoming Shabbat, but next Shabbat. If you want to come down, feel free to reach out to us. It's no cost. Just bring an appetite and be ready to worship. That's how we do it here. But we'll love to have you down. And if any of you guys are in the area, come on down. Come on down. And let's fellowship. This is what it's about. We overcome by the blood of the lamb through the word and the words of our testimony. So uh, come on down. But yeah, like I said, I put a lot of leg work into this, and that's why I say again, can no one can tell me anything different about this facility because I've been there. I combed it up and down. I have images of it that I will not make public because guess what? Those are our ancestors, and there's a reason why they made it so that way we can understand what they say. That's the reason why they had it written in such a way. Now, I'm just going to share it to family, and you guys are my family. So, but yeah, come on down though if you guys are in the Richmond area, and if we'll let you know ahead of time when we go down to Savannah. We are working on some things, but when we're down in Savannah, we'll let everyone know, and that way you all could come on down, and we all go through this walk together and show you just that the impact of you just seeing is one thing, seeing these videos, but it's another thing when you actually go down and you see and hear the voices of our ancestors wanting to pass this information down, a bookmark, so that way when we come back down south, like how the tradition of down south was really originally created, it was for us to come back down and learn about our tradition, learn about who we are. That was the original tradition of going down south for the summer. But over time, it became go down south because you're in trouble, go down south for the summer. No, it was initially so that way we are reminded about our history, and we see bookmarks like these that you see here in Savannah is full with it. And one last point I want to make too about Georgia. This is a piece of history no one will tell you. Um, Georgia was founded by a man named Oglethorpe. Oglethorpe is Jewish, right? So the entire state of Georgia was founded by Oglethorpe. He was also a general, right? He came over to the country with 47 Jews, right? 10 was Ashkenazi and 37 was Sephardic, right? And when you do the history, you'll see that the Sephardic Jews there, you'll see that they are listed as Black people down in the area. Benaiah did a great job with really showing the information on that. So I can even show that there were that Oglethorpe had Black Jews per se as slaves. Yep, you'll see that. I'm looking seeing some of the comments here. So yeah, you'll see that. So that's the part of history we're not told. Georgia plays a major role in really how can I say revealing more about what transpired with our history. Because Savannah is right there, basically at the DMZ of Florida, where the Gullah War was taking place. So, but yeah, I just thought I'd mention that for those that are not familiar with Georgia, and that's what makes this assembly so powerful, because in the heart of all of this, right, not even a block away in the community, you had slaves and free slaves and Jews living among each other, as we proved it, as Benaiah did a great job at proving. So it's right there. All of this information is right there, right there. This is our history. This is your history. This gives us more proof on who we are, and further solidifies the assembly of being, making it a point to identify and highlight their Israelite culture, their Israelite identity.
Yep. Yeah. And the problem is that one word you said, Israelite identity. That's the biggest problem. As long as we didn't say that, we were good. And because we're saying that now, we're a problem.
Absolutely.
So it is what it is. I'm mad because I'm out of this. But I'm at the point now where we've been doing what we're doing. We're gonna continue on. But I really wanted to bring you on to talk about the video you did, which was very good. And I'm sorry, y'all, I was drinking something, but and eating something, trying to eat something because I really didn't get a chance to eat tonight, and I know it's late. But that's what I wanted to bring you on to talk about, that because that particular that video, and I'm gonna play it one more time, and I want people to see it because it was some new people that came in here. What I'm getting ready to show y'all again, for the new people as well, is the video of Pastor Kelly's trailer to his upcoming um, premiere that he's gonna do. I'm not gonna give y'all the date. We ain't gonna give you none of that because the Saints gonna. Yeah, we want it to be a surprise, but just wanted to let y'all see it. But let me play it one more time before we close. When I find it, I should have had it queued up. Here we go. All right. Oh,
Hey, Sissy,
Hold on.
can you just rewind? I want to just explain one quick thing. Go back to the woman being hung upside down.
Let me see. Where?
Right there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I want you to stop a moment to show right here.
I did not know that was a woman.
This is a woman, guys. She's 15 years old. She's a girl. They hung her upside down and tortured her, dropped her on her head until she died. Why? Because they wanted her to strip down naked in front of everyone as a form of entertainment, and she said no. And so they tied her up and hung her upside down and repeatedly, and actually they had her arms tied up, but they repeatedly dropped her up and down. I mean, dropped her on her head, raised her up, dropped her on her head until she died. So I want you guys to understand the magnitude, the significance of what's taking place. And you notice in the back here, you see what? Naked women. These are naked women sitting in the back, girls. Many of them are girls, not women, but girls. So this is a girl. This is a 15-year-old girl that's hung upside down and dropped on her head repeatedly until she died. So I just thought just want to share a little more history about this particular photo. So the next time you see it, this is actually a 15-year-old girl. You can rewind it, sister. I just wanted to just share that kind of some
Oh,
tidbit on
man.
that particular video here. I mean, image here.
Okay. That right there. Wow. Okay, I'm finna hit the play button because, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to start it over, that'd be fine. I won't say anything else.
No,
I
right there.
just, but I.
That I think about, my daughter, your daughter,
Hmm.
and
Can you imagine that?
whew,
I can't even imagine. Like, Mimi is 17 years old now, right? I
yeah,
can't imagine any of our daughters be going through any of this. So that's why I said when we think about the Passover, we need to thank the Most High for allowing us to be born in this time versus that time. Who knows what we would have been subjected to?
wow. And that's why I was thinking about, Madison 18. And think about when she was 15. Oh,
She would have been ready to have babies at the age of 13 years old. And for some of the other slave owners, right, they were using 6 and 7 year old uh, babies. They was molesting them.
wow. Wow. And that's the hardest part about, I'm not gonna say the hardest, but sometimes you have to look at things and kind of internalize it, you know. And I'm not saying I have to internalize it to understand it, but you do look at things like, man, my daughter is 15, 18, your daughter is 17, you know, like the story of watch meeting. And what kills me is some of the people in the Israelite community try to rail against it, and they don't understand the significance of it, that they would have watch meeting service together, New Year's Eve, praying to the Most High that none of them were sold, because New Year's Day their kids were sold off, or they were sold off,
Absolutely.
husbands were sold off, or enduring watching my child be tortured to death.
And what's so sad because I taught on that. I teach on that every year because we still have watch night service, and it's similar to how similar to Purim, right? How um, even though that's not a holy feast day that was originally created when we see in Leviticus 23, but Israel made it a point to remember what transpired, and how the Most High used Esther to um, undo the plan of genocide. So when we look at uh, watch night, like you said, our ancestors, they they did not know if that was going to be the last time that they were able to come together. you know, because if the slave owners' books were in the red, then they would sell you on January 1st. And then January 2nd was called moving day. You hear that term in Wall Street, but it was moving day. So all the slaves had to literally go to the new
Yeah.
slave masters.
Let me go.
So
Yeah,
go
people
ahead,
like,
sis. I'm
why is the
sorry.
screen black? Hold on, y'all. The screen black because we talking. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, sis. You could go ahead and, or I'm going to say you could go ahead and play it. But yeah,
Okay.
I'm just kind of touching on what you pointed out.
Yeah.
And one of the horror stories is a woman, when our ancestors had 7 kids, and all 7 of her kids were taken from her and sold to different masters. And so some of the slaves would literally beg certain masters to buy them because they did not want to go to like the sugar plantations because those are like the worst plantations. The slaves knew who were some of the worst masters to work for. And think about it, we're saying the worst masters when all of them are evil. You know what I mean? But in their minds, they're like, well, we want to make sure we have a good, the lesser of the two evils. And
Yep.
so this is kind of fulfilling Deuteronomy when we sit up here trying to what? Uh, offer ourselves to try to circumvent the penalties, the punishment, the treatment that we are being subjected to. That's another part of that. So you hit it on the nail to undo the narrative that we many think that it was Abraham Lincoln that we were waiting by for him to free us, the Emancipation Proclamation to declare that, and that way, hey, we're free. He was a type of Messiah to us, which that was not the case. Truth be told, if we want to really understand the Emancipation Proclamation, the Gullah War, you'll see that that happened during then. Those our ancestors that fought down in Florida, guess what? They were given freedom. That's how many of them ended up in Albany, Georgia, and to the west. Going further over to the other states that they were still trying to, colonize per se.
Yep. Yep. Man. Man. I'm just right now. It's just I'm just like I said, words can't explain. But I'm gonna play this, and I'm gonna play one more thing before we close out.
Okay.
want to show one more thing. Y'all, 4 more minutes of y'all's time. So we can go ahead and end. Because yeah, that story did something to me. But I want to play this last thing.
And why are you pulling that up, Sister? Can I just share one thing with the people about why I chose that song?
Yeah.
That was a song that my grandmother sang, right? And the whole imagery, what inspired me to with that whole imagery, is because I definitely didn't have a great childhood. You know, some of you guys know my testimony, and I remember one of the worst situations that I was dealing with as a child. I was literally sitting in front of the window, and I was just asking God to remove me from where me and my brothers were, and so my grandmother came out of nowhere, and after me and my brothers were, going from house to house, and didn't meet my mother till I was actually literally 7 years old. But after meeting her, and then she's bringing me with the rest of my brothers, and we really was going through a lot of stuff. We experienced being homeless, and and I don't knock my mother, because at the same time, she was 20 years old. By the time she was 20, she already done had 4 boys. You know what I mean? But my grandmother, she was part of a group called the Four Roses, and they used to sing Trouble in My Way all the time, Go Down Moses. Those are the two main songs that stood out with me. And my grandmother, every time she would go through a hard time, she would sing Trouble in My Way. And so that's what inspired me to bring out Trouble in My Way. And I think about even some of the stories she shared of picking cotton as a child with her grandmother, so that's why I selected that song. And that's why you see the imagery, because it's kind of like painting that picture of, when I was a child looking out of that window and just reflecting on the bad things that me and my brothers were subjected to, and just help, asking the Most High to help us, to get us out of there. So that's why that's kind of that is the narrative on why you see the images you see, the rain, because that's actually me when I was a child, and the Most High made a promise to me. Can't hear you, Sissy.
I said, wow.
Mhm.
Wow. Today is getting more and more wow. And that stuck out to me with the glass and the rain, and every time you saw it gloss over and you wiped it off, the imagery was getting, worse and worse, and you saw more and more, trauma when it comes to that slave trade. Um yeah. So family, I wanted to end it on this, and it's gonna be the last 4 minutes. Um because it speaks to where we are now and where we're about to go. So
Chapter 37. The hand of the Lord was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord, and set me down in the midst of a valley which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry. And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord God, thou knowest. Again he said unto me, Prophesy upon these bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, Behold, I will cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. And I will lay sinews upon you, and will bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. So I prophesied as I was commanded. And as I prophesied, there was a noise, and behold, a shaking, and the bones came together, bone to his bone. And when I beheld, lo, the sinews and the flesh came up upon them, and the skin covered them above, but there was no breath in them. Then said he unto me, Prophesy unto the wind, prophesy, son of man, and say to the wind, Thus saith the Lord God, Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon these slain, that they may live. So I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived, and stood up upon their feet, an exceeding great army. Then he said unto me, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. Behold, they say, Our bones are dried, and our hope is lost. We are cut off from our parts. Therefore prophesy and say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, O my people, I will open your graves, and cause you to come up out of your graves, and bring you into the land of Israel. And ye shall know that I am the Lord, when I have opened your graves, O my people, and brought you up out of your graves, and shall put my spirit in you, and ye shall live, and I shall place you in your own land. Then shall ye know that I, the Lord, have spoken it, and performed it, saith the Lord. The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick, and write upon it, For Judah, and for the children of Israel his companions. Then take another stick, and write upon it, For Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel his companions, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand. When the children of thy people shall speak unto thee, saying, Wilt thou not shew us what thou meanest by these? Say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one stick, and they shall be one in mine hand. And the sticks whereon thou writest shall be in thine hand before their eyes. And say unto them, Thus saith the Lord God, Behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whither they be gone, and will gather them on every side, and bring them into their own land. And I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountain of Israel. One king shall be king to them all, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms any more at all. Neither shall they defile themselves any more with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions. But I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them. So shall they be my people, and I will be their God. And David my servant shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments, and observe my statutes, and do them. And they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers have dwelt. And they shall dwell therein, even they and their children's children forever. And my servant David shall be their prince forever. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yea, I will be their God. They shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, the Lord, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore.
Y'all ignore the voice. I saw people that are like, wait a minute. I couldn't find nobody with a black voice reading Ezekiel 37. But that's what you laughing. But I'm sitting there, I was like, you know what? These Israelites here, you're on mute.
And I was saying I was expecting some James Earl Jones.
But y'all, with that, that's where this is where my heart is being, like I said, led. That's where we are. You see us coming together one by one, and the breath of the Most High is going to be blown into us, and we're going to be away from all of this. You know, for all our ancestors, he said, you know, I'm going to go into their graves and take them out, and those ancestors that are in the graves now that had to endure, they're going to be in a place of safety and going to be with one king, which is Christ. People love to say that, you know, I'm not going to even get into what people say. I look forward for that great day, that day that we don't have to trouble anymore. We don't have to toil anymore. We don't have to worry about things anymore. Our ancestors that had to endure all of the pain and hurt, they'll be at peace and they'll be at rest. Because he hasn't forgotten Israel. He hasn't forgotten us as a nation. He still loves us, and he's consistently telling us, I still love you. I still love you, because if he didn't, well, I'm going to say if he didn't, we were supposed to be destroyed as a nation. After all the things that we went through, we were supposed to be no more. But what happened is the more affliction that they put on us, the more we grew in number. So that tells you that's the hand of the Most High on us. We never died out. We increased, and we're forever increasing. No matter what the numbers say, but we're forever increasing. The Most High is constantly keeping us, and he's going to keep us and bring us into a place of safety. Again, that we'll have peace, that we'll be able to worship him forever and ever, and don't have to worry about being don't have to endure what we've been enduring. So just hold tight, stand still, Israel, and see the salvation of Yah. And I said that this morning on my community tab for a reason, because it dropped so heavy in my heart that we have to stand still. Don't compromise. Don't compromise. Don't allow anybody to make you compromise. That's the ultimate goal. They want us to stop. They want us to compromise. They want us to say, well, maybe we Israel, but we can do this. Well, if we're no, stand still and see the salvation of Yah. Know that He's our deliverer. That we have to stand firm on His word and His will and do as He tells us to do. Never compromise for the sake of winning a friend or winning an audience. I said this, I said, I will walk with 10 and stand with the Most High than walk with 1,000 and compromise. And that's the goal. Don't compromise. Don't bow your knee to Baal. Don't allow yourself to fall short. Don't allow yourself to want to win people, because what we're talking now is not meant to win people, but to win souls, to bring people to Christ. But don't let anybody make you feel like you less than. Talk about the Deuteronomy curses because they're real. Talk about the 400-year prophecy because that's real. They want us to stop Israel. So the way that they want us to stop, they try to shame us. Don't let them shame you. And the very thing that we read that changed, that made us wake up to understand who we are. Every single one of us in this chat read the Deuteronomy curse. Every single one of us read Deuteronomies, and it changed our lives. Continually read it, continually speak to it, because it was real and it really did happen, and it really did happen to our people. So don't let them shame us anymore, because what I find ourselves doing now is we're not talking about it anymore because we're kind of scared of the backlash. Don't be afraid of the backlash. Understand that the backlash is coming. They're going to come at you because they want you to shut up as a people. Do not allow them to make you shut up. Keep talking. Keep saying you're Israel. Don't compromise. And that's key. Never compromise with the enemy. Never compromise with Hasatan, because Hasatan doesn't want to see this awakening happen. Understand that when we wake up, his kingdom ends. So understand that we are the people. Keep walking in his way. Keep walking in his laws, his statutes, and his commandments. And he'll forever bless you, and he'll forever keep you. Israel, I love you all. I want y'all to keep going. I want y'all to keep moving. I want y'all to be ready for what we're getting ready to do, and what Pastor Kelly and everyone, Benaiah, Dante, Tayu, Shonda, everybody, Kiris, all of us, what we're getting ready to do, because guess what? We're still walking in the ways of the Most High and his will. So Israel, I love y'all. But the key to it is never compromise. Never give up. Keep doing what we're doing, and y'all will bless us and sustain us. Y'all have a wonderful evening and get you some rest. And I will see y'all later on this week, and we will continue on with what we've been doing. Y'all bless. Love y'all.